guys, welcome back to my channel. Happy Tuesday. Today we are going to be talking about my fake tan routine, right? My sunless tanning routine. I'm a pale girl. I actually can't get a real tan. I used to go to a tanning bed for about a year of my life in college where a friend of mine kind of taught me, she's like, oh, if you go in like a couple minutes at a time, you can kind of build up this like tolerance, and then, you know, with all of the like lotions and everything like that, you can get really, really tan. And I did it, and then I was like, I smell like bacon when I'm in this thing. This can't be good for me long term, you know what I mean? And like, I loved kind of like the results of looking tan and being tan. And even coming from Florida, it like never happened for me naturally. Like I just would go to spring break with my friends and they'd all get like really tan, and I was just like, cool, I'll be the little ghost over here, no big deal, or the one with the sunburn usually. I definitely started dabbling in the sunless tanning stuff early on in my life. I remember one of the first times that I went to like a drugstore with my sister and we both bought sunless tan, and we got to see the differences in our personalities kind of reflected in our results, because we both went home and we both did it in our respective bathrooms, and then when we came out, I had a normal tan and hers was like really splotchy and she was freaking out because she just didn't really have the patience to kind of like take the time to do it properly. But fortunately, there are better options out there now than the ones that we were working with at the time. I was working with, you know, again, something from the drugstore that was very lotion based. It's very easy to mess up. It's very messy. It's very stinky. Over the years, I have learned a lot of kind of better ways of doing it that don't really inconvenience me in my life very much. And so I wanted to share those with you guys today. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So one of the first things that I think is really important is to make sure that you kind of prep your skin properly. I know that people talk about this kind of stuff all the time. You know, there's lots of exfoliants, there's lots of different ways. There's also tan removers. I've never had to use a tan remover because I just very diligently exfoliate my skin all the time, because I am one of those people, for whatever reason, I have very slow cell turnover, and so my skin tends to like to peel all the time. I get really bad ingrown hairs on my legs because like my skin just likes to form these little barriers. It might have something to do with my psoriasis, I'm not sure, but if I don't exfoliate, my skin just builds up and becomes my just sworn enemy. So if you guys are like that at all, then let me, first of all, let's commiserate, but also let me share with you some of the things that I have found. So I have in the past used some kind of like sugars and salt scrubs, and even some of those ones that are really not very environmentally friendly, that the little beads wash down into the ocean and, you know, are there till the end of time, and that makes me feel really not that good. So actually I was fortunate enough, you guys might remember last Friday, I was like, I had this box of something that someone had sent me, and I was like, I haven't used this yet, but I have 70% off if you guys are interested. And it's basically like a, you know, like a Clarisonic or like a spin brush situation. And, you know, I was like, oh, okay, well, so it's this thing. It's by a brand called Duvolle, and they also make hair products and things like that. And actually, I can give you guys 70% off of like everything on their site if that's what you're interested in. They were just being incredibly generous. And when they sent me this, it came with an exfoliating brush for your face, a cleansing brush for your face, a pumice stone for your feet, and then this giant exfoliator. And you guys, I had been using this little cleansing brush and I was like, yeah, this is fine, this is good, this gets my makeup off and it feels really good. I was like sitting in the bath last night, y'all, longest week of my life. It was like my birthday. I had 2 nights in a row of engagement shoots all over Austin with one of my best friends who came in to shoot us, and they turned out beautifully. And then on Monday night we had to go and see a band to see if we wanted them to play at our wedding, and they were fantastic, and we do. But I literally had something every single night this week, and Mercury's in retrograde, and everything was just going to absolute haywire at work, and I'm just so exhausted. I slept so hard last night, but the first thing I did when I got home last night after taking my lashes off was get in the bath. And I was like watching, you know, some YouTube videos and stuff like that while I was in the bath, and I realized, I was like, oh, okay, well, I want to go ahead and tan because it's like that time of year. I'm really excited about it. I just really like to sort of, you know, get in the vibe of the season, I guess, because I'm not going to get a natural tan, okay? It's just not gonna happen. And so I was sitting there, I was like, ooh, actually, you know, instead of exfoliating with like a topical exfoliant, like a scratchy exfoliant, why don't I use that little exfoliator brush? And so I stuck this guy on here, and I hadn't used the facial exfoliating brush yet. I'd only used the facial cleansing brush. So I turned this guy on with some soap, and I just kind of like stood there in the bath and like exfoliated my thighs and my arms and my butt and everything that just kind of like doesn't get a lot of attention, doesn't get a lot of love in your everyday life. You know, you clean it and you don't really think about it again. You might put some moisturizer on it if it's lucky, but I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of extra attention to all those areas to make sure that I got things really, really smooth before I put all the tanning stuff on, because if you don't, and if you're like me and you do have really kind of naturally dry skin, it'll flake off and it'll look really, really creepy. Like you'll end up actually kind of like enhancing the dryness of your skin with your fake tan, and it will look really scaly and gross. And so I was like, all right, I gotta go the extra mile. Y'all, if you are one of those people like me who just loves the feeling of like someone scratching your back or something like that, and it's just like, why can't I go pay somebody to do that? It's because it would be weird, but you know, you pay people to do other stuff. I don't know, there's people who pay people to just shampoo their hair for an hour. Like, why can't I pay somebody to scratch my back? That's neither here nor there. This feels like someone kind of gently just scratching, and if you've got dry skin and everything just kind of low-key itches all the time, this felt incredible. Like, I was just blown away. I was like, I don't even care if this does anything. It just feels so freaking good. It felt so good on my legs, especially just after like long week, long everything. I was just like worn out, and I was just like, this is like therapy. This is phenomenal. And so, yeah, I mean, it's great as a face brush, but like, y'all, it's amazing as a body brush. So I did that. And then when I got out of the shower, I put on some lotion, because I actually do, even though you use moisturizer before you get like a spray tan to get it to repel from different places, this is not the same thing. And so you can use a lotion, like a moisturizer, after you get done exfoliating, so that the tanner does go on really nice and smoothly, and it won't make it like repel from your body the way it would like a spray tan. And so afterwards I went in with this, and this is the Glossier Body Hero, and it is a daily perfecting cream. It's got a little bit of like a firming thing to it, but mainly it's got dimethicone in it. It makes your skin just feel really soft and look really soft. And I really, really like this. It smells kind of like rose. It's very unoffensive. It's pretty inexpensive, and it comes like, that's a mother load of freaking lotion. So I like to keep this on hand. So that's what I've been using lately. And as I'm putting that lotion on, I was just like, oh my God, my thighs haven't felt this good in so long. Like, everything felt so firm and smooth, and like I'm so used to them feeling really scaly and like lots of ingrown hairs and everything. I'm actually touching my thighs right now. Is that awkward? That's a little awkward. But anyway, so I was just like, okay, I'm really excited, because I wasn't really sure if I was even going to talk about this again on my channel, because I was like, there's a lot of this kind of stuff on the market, you know what I mean? And yeah, maybe you don't necessarily want to go pay $300 for a Clarisonic, but that doesn't mean that you also, you know, wouldn't just go buy anything that's like this. But this guy's really, really heavy duty, really sturdy, and I think that with the 70% off, it's like $29. So like, it's fantastic if you're the kind of person who wants to kind of exfoliate their whole body in one go and not use a bottle exfoliant or something like that. This is really, really awesome, and it made my thighs, which are probably the part of myself that I'm like the most self-conscious about, with their just being really scaly and having like ingrown hairs and stuff, feel like someone else's thighs. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh my God, they're amazing. I can't stop touching them. And so really, really happy about that. So that kind of prepped my whole body. I did like my arms, I did my stomach, I did my chest, which is covered in psoriasis. Awesome. I did the whole nine, and it really prepped my skin for putting on the sunless tan, and it really, really helped it go on really smoothly, and I was really pleased with that. So what do I use for sunless tan? Ta-da! I can't say enough about this stuff. This is the Saint-Tropez Bronzing Mousse Self-Tan Classic, and yes, there are a lot of brands out there. Some of them are cruelty-free, some of them are not. Saint-Tropez happens to be cruelty-free, which is fantastic. There are a lot of different ways of making a sunless tan stick to your body, right? There are your sprays, there are your lotions. This happens to be a mousse, and I actually prefer this mousse process. I have used a lot of brands. I have used what? Loving Tan, I've used Fake Bake, which I can get very inexpensively at my beauty supply, but I really don't like it. And I've used Vita Liberata, and this is the one that is just absolutely worth the money all day long. I think this guy is like 50 bucks. But this bottle, it's got how much in it? How is this only 8 ounces? There's no way that's only 8 ounces. That's really crazy that that's only 8 ounces. But regardless, this has lasted me for years, you guys. This is probably like my 3rd year with this. Yes, it's almost empty, but like, it's a foam. And so you end up really probably using like this much of it each time, because it kind of fluffs them, it aerates the product so much that like, it makes it go so far. If I can give any advice on this kind of stuff, it is to A, use a mitt. Hopefully it's just as disgusting as mine. This is really vile. Like I said, I've had the same bottle for like going on 3 years, and so I've been using the same mitt for going on 3 years. I'm gonna probably replace both of them really soon. But this is not one of your 1 hour express. I totally understand that, but I don't find that it inconveniences me that much to do this after I get out of the shower, sleep with it on me, and then just take a shower. It doesn't stain my sheets permanently. It does kind of add a little bit of an inconvenient sort of powdery thing to it, but it doesn't bother me at all. I won't wear this the next day without showering though, because it does look really patchy. They just use a dye to be able to, you know, see where you put it essentially. But that dye that they use to help you kind of like navigate where you're putting it is nowhere near as forgiving as the actual product. So don't be afraid if you look really, really muddy in the morning when you wake up. It is going to do you a lot of favors. That is why I love this so much, is because if you put on a really nice thin layer of this, whatever this formula is doing, you never end up streaky. Okay, let me say that again. I've used Vita Liberata. I've used a lot of stuff that's more expensive than this even, and this, you don't end up streaky. I have ended up streaky with a lot of products. I will say some of my better advice is to use a really thin layer. You can always do it again tomorrow and put another layer on if you want to be really dark. But I just use a really thin layer, and then you're not going to end up with that just like crazy streaky blotchy thing. Also, concentrate, like be mindful, do it one limb at a time. Go like 2 pumps all over the thighs, all over the knees, the back of the kneecaps, and kind of underneath your butt. And then you do 1 pump, kind of go down your calves, all the way back around your knees. Make sure you can, like with this mitt, that's what's so great, is you can take this mitt and you can really just kind of blend. You don't have to just go 1 time and then be afraid you're wiping it off. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever used sunless tan before, but good luck wiping it off. Oh, but also if you touch it with water, you'll get a splash. Like, that's what's so frustrating about it. It's like, when I want it there, it won't stay. When I don't want it there, it's there till the end of time. I don't know what kind of weird engineering is in this stuff, but that always seems to be the case for me. But anyway, so if you just are really mindful about making sure that you blend everything together, get it everywhere. I don't put it on my face. I do kind of put it all the way up to here, and then I'll just use bronzer and stuff like that on my face, because there are self-tanners for your face that are kind of meant for the texture of the skin on your face. This is going to be a little too harsh for that, and it's going to kind of like grab at the different skin textures that you have. Trust me, I've done it. It just makes you look kind of muddy and old. Like, it does kind of accentuate lines, and it does. It just kind of ages you a little bit. And so if you are going to put it on your face, which I don't even bother doing, there are ones that are specifically made for your face that are just kind of like a lot gentler and a lot more nourishing. So I usually go legs first, and then I just use whatever excess and I just kind of blend it down onto my feet. I don't like to have like that obvious line. And then I will do my whole torso, all the way up over my shoulders, all the way to my back, all the way, you know, reachy, and maybe get some help if you need it. And then I do my arms last, because basically your arms are what's going to be touching everything as you go, and so you don't want to end up like, you know, spreading product where you don't know where it is, and so I always leave my arms till last. And then I will get done, I will wash my hands and, you know, make sure that I don't splash water anywhere on my body, because like I said, you'll get a little white polka dot, which is super frustrating. But that's the case with anything I've ever used. If you know one that doesn't do that, then let me know. But then after I've kind of like washed just past my hands, I will take a beauty blender and just like with no product on it or anything, just while the product is, you know, still drying on my skin, and I'll just kind of take the beauty blender and just kind of like, in fact I have one right here. I'll take the beauty blender and just kind of like drag the product like that, so that I end up sort of like blending that line a little bit better. And so you don't end up, like I said, with like the really harsh line going from your wrists onto your hands, or any of that weird kind of like creasing at your wrists. And it just kind of knocks it out of there, just like you would with makeup. And they actually make black beauty blenders, which would probably work even better because they wouldn't stain. So that would be really cool. I should probably get one of those. And then my final tip probably is to make sure that you keep your skin really nourished after you've washed the tan off. I keep mine on, like I said, the whole night while I sleep. And so then when I get up in the morning and I shower it off, you'll find that it does dry your skin a little bit. There's nothing particularly nourishing about a dye that's going on the outside of your skin. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, it just has a very like un-emollient effect to it. And so I will always, when I get done, not just, you know, normally when I would get out of the shower and I didn't self-tan, I'll just put moisturizer on like my elbows and my legs, and that's fine. I put it all over it. It's going to help preserve the tan as long as possible. It's going to keep it even, and it's going to make it wear off evenly, so that you don't end up with it gathering in dry spots, because you'll end up with it like only on your elbows when you're done or something like that. But I will say, like, if I haven't said it enough, this is just a really forgiving formula. I've never had a problem with it. Granted, I don't go super dark. Like, this is this is my self-tan situation. You know what I mean? Like, it's not super crazy, but it really helps enhance what I think is my sort of natural undertone of like being kind of golden warm. It also makes your muscles look a lot kind of more defined. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like contouring your entire body. I don't really feel like I necessarily need to make the case for wearing self-tanner because it just does you a lot of favors. It's very slimming. But this is going to be my like ride or die forever. Unless I don't know. I mean, like, if you guys have a suggestion on one that you think would knock it out of the park even more, has some kind of like, you know, amazing feature or quality to it that I haven't even considered yet, then let me know. But if you are ever scoping these products out on Sephora or something like that, and you're like, God, that's so freaking expensive. I'm not paying that for a sunless tanner. The results are there. Like, this is one of those things. This is one of the first, like I said, this has been years that I've had this bottle. This is one of the first luxury items that I bought for myself where I was like, look, I got a sample of it in like a Birchbox or something like that, or maybe it was with a Sephora order, and I tried it and I was like, oh my God, what have I been doing this whole time buying this like garbage self-tanner at the drugstore? It always looks so bad. Spend the money. This will last you for years. I just really, really think that on some products it's really worth not trying to kind of like cheap out, because you will end up getting what you pay for. And in the case of this stuff, this is not sponsored, you will get what you pay for. So guys, those are just kind of my few kind of handful of products that I think are really my mainstays of making sure that I have a really nice, healthy, natural looking self-tan. And so I hope that you guys appreciated the info. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. We'll also leave the discount code for this bad boy down there so that you guys can check it out if you want to. Again, thank you, Duval, for sending this to me. This is really cool. This isn't a sponsored video. They just wanted to send me this product because they're awesome. Guys, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, hit the button down below and subscribe. I would love it if you did. Thank you so much for joining me today and for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.